Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another round of sound. This is the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. I'm Bob Pompeani. Always great to have you on board. We have a lot to get into today. We'll talk about the Pac-12 implosion in college football as realignment continues to break out. It seems like every other month. We'll also get into the Steelers. Their first depth chart came out. Got a game this week against Tampa Bay, but clearly the #1 topic tonight on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown would be the home run amazing deal pulled out by Kyle Dubas. And here to talk about it is your panel. We have Jeff Hathhorn from 93.7 The Fan. Far left, in the middle, it's Chris Adamski from the Pittsburgh Tribune-Review, Trib Live, and then Andrew Fillipponi, PM team host, and a man who wears a lot of hats. And congratulations on Stella.
Thank you, Bob.
So you're
the gifts keep on coming. First Stella, now Erik Karlsson.
That's right. Well, Stella should be #1. We'll start with that. Jeff, I want to start with you on this one. Everyone knew that was a possibility, but what we didn't know was that Kyle Dubas somehow was going to get rid of some big contracts that I don't think many people thought would get rid of in one fell swoop. Grade this deal, and also, what does it mean for the Penguins now? Are they now one of the top teams in the East?
You know, the Penguins added the Norris Trophy winner, who's still 33, under control for a couple of years, and got rid of Granlund and Petrie and lost to Smith, big whoop. Legare, big whoop. Jan Ruda, big whoop. I mean, this is a team that needs to go for it now. They also lost a first and second round pick. Who cares? Like, they need to go for it now, and they went for it now.
You could make the case that a non-bad trade would have been to trade a first and a second, get a third back, to dump Granlund, to dump Petrie. I mean, Rude is like, you know, a depreciating asset, really. Who cares? I mean, DeSmith the same way. You're going to go. You could make the case that getting nothing back would have made the Penguins a better team or a better positioned team at this moment. And they got the friggin' Norris Trophy winner as a bonus on top of all that. I don't know. I don't know. If you're going to criticize this, you're really just thinking too hard.
It's one of the most shocking trades in Penguins history because they got a guy that had 101 points last year, and they gave up, other than the first-round pick, really nothing to get him. San Jose and Montreal took on the Penguins dead weight. They didn't have to buy out Granlund, so there's no contract ramifications down the road, which is great. Petrie, I'm stunned that he waived his limited no-movement clause, or at least had Montreal not on the list. He was miserable there.
Right.
When he got to the Penguins, he said, thank God, I don't have to deal with the, you know, he didn't like the prime minister up there, Bob. He didn't want to be in that country. And he takes a deal to go back there. What is Mike Greer, the Sharks GM, thinking? I mean, he just wanted, I guess, tank the team out. Maybe that was the directive, / payroll. They didn't even get PK. They didn't get P.O. Joseph in the deal. They didn't get Sam
Pedersen,
Pedersen. I mean,
the Pens don't have many good young players, but they didn't give up any.
Right.
Yeah.
You would have thought they would have had to give up somebody.
I mean, what happened, and it's shocking, is that the Sharks salary dumped the best defenseman in the NHL last year.
They did.
And what is also shocking about it is there didn't seem to be a wide cast of teams that wanted Erik Karlsson's services, or at least Karlsson, because he had a no-movement clause, dictated where he wanted to go, which it's impressive that he wanted to go to the Penguins if that's the case.
That's the only maybe red flag is no other team apparently wanted him or wanted him enough to do this maneuvers like this. And we know he's not very good defensively. That's easy to say. And he was on a bad team this past year. He had some bad Ottawa teams before that. Is that his fault? No, that's the only thing. There's 30 other GMs. Are they just not as smart as Kyle Dubas to be able to do this cap moving around to be able to get him? Because nobody can take the $11.5 million cap hit, but the Penguins couldn't take it. They found a way to take it.
Buzz, I think $11.5 million reasons why, too. I mean, they didn't want that cap hit. Even as good as he is, how many teams could afford that cap hit or would have to give up something younger where I still can't believe this deal.
Andrew, if you're going to look at it and say, is there a negative? To me, it would be maybe the fact that he's not that good defensively on a team that has its issues that way. But more than that, I'm wondering how Chris Letang, I know these guys want to win. At this point, they probably don't care. They just want to win. But it will affect his time on the power play.
Sure. Yeah, he's going to have a new role. You know, he's used to playing 20-plus minutes. They're both right-side shots, so they're not going to play together. They shouldn't because their playing style is so similar.
It gives you a great advantage.
So, you know, someone's going to have to take a back seat. I'm guessing it's Letang. Okay, but they gave you the deal you wanted. They paid you handsomely. They gave you multiple years. He should accept that. I don't think they make this trade without Letang, at least in a way, nudging the Penguins to make the deal.
Even if they didn't go to him, there's no way you could escape hearing all the noise about Erik Karlsson potentially coming to the Penguins. And Sullivan says it all the time. These guys want to win. That's what I love about this core group, is all they want to do is win. Well, if all they want to do is win, Karlsson helps them win.
Chris, I want to ask you about this now. Jake Guentzel, we're going to shift into this because it was a big topic this week. had surgery. Here we are in August, which means he won't even be evaluated again until the season is underway, which is very strange to me that how somebody like that, who has a year left on a contract, he's looking for a new deal. We saw Tom Wilson get one. Why so late? When did he suffer? There are a lot of unanswered questions with this. And what does it do for his future?
They put it in the release saying it was certainly implied this is a long-term, I think it literally said long-term situation. We saw this with Sidney Crosby a couple years ago with his wrist getting surgery late and having to miss the beginning part of the season as a result. I don't know why you would kind of cover up. That's the part I don't get. If he did, there's obviously video of him playing in this league, the 3-on-3 league, just a couple days before the surgery. Why would he be doing that if they were going down that road? And if it wasn't, if he did get hurt in that, why cover up? Is there a reason why you would cover up for that league? I don't understand that. There is, and maybe that's why Kyle Dubas hasn't talked yet publicly to be able to answer these questions or face these questions.
Yeah, when I first saw it, my light bulb went on, and I thought it was going to be salary cap manipulation. I thought it was a late surgery to shelf him for a few games.
I wouldn't put that past the general manager.
No, but to clear cap space to facilitate a Carlson trade. But then when you look at all the money that Montreal and San Jose took back, they don't actually need that cap space. I'm stunned without having the long-term deal that he would, I guess, jeopardize himself in a 3-on-3 league like that, Jeff. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Listen, those leagues happen everywhere. These guys ramp up, they play, they do it in Cranberry, they do it all over the United States, all over the world. These guys get in leagues and they play competitive hockey. They ramp themselves up.
But not when you're
the
negotiating a new contract.
Well, but he has to get ready for the year. So let's assume he got hurt in that league, and this is where it's all coming from, and it's not something that has just been lingering for months. If that's the case, just be transparent about it.
Sure.
Like, hey, he got hurt in a summer league. This happens.
Because if he had a lingering injury, you would have taken care of this in June, not August.
I would think.
It wouldn't make any sense. Real quick, I ask you this as we go into the next segment, and this is one to think about, and that would be GMs. We saw Omar Khan in his first draft. We see Kyle Dubas in his first situation. So, Andrew, who had the better first year so far, at least based on what you've seen?
Well, 24 hours ago, I would have said Omar Khan, and it wasn't close. I hate the Tristan Jarry extension. I couldn't stand the 5-year deal for him. I think the Carlson thing shifts everything.
Okay.
I mean, he is, for me, you said Bob, liability defensively in his own zone. Okay, Paul Coffey, what was he without the puck? When the guy has the puck on his stick, he's one of the best players in the entire league.
First game here, what it did to
one
the
of
city.
The best.
Right.
So, I mean, that to me is a blockbuster trade that completely changes the trajectory of the team. I'm saying Dubas.
Than any Penguins forward last year.
Correct.
Think about that. I mean, the first 30 years, the first defenseman with 100 points.
Since Brian Leetch.
It's really hard to see. It's incredible. I don't know if this is going to work with the Penguins. I really don't. But I think it was Kyle Dubas' best play. If you're going to keep the guys you had and the contracts you had, and you're keeping Letang and Crosby and Malkin together, you might as well give it a shot and roll it. It might not work, but it's your best chance.
I think both were good. I think the hidden thing here is I'm sure the guys in the ticket office, the people in the ticket office, are happy with Kyle Dubas.
Oh, man.
Because what a shot in the arm for them to get him. So because of that addition.
How about that first game now?
Yeah,
Bedard against Erik Karlsson. That's going to be the hottest ticket in the NHL.
It really will, and that's the thing.
10-9
he also just kept this window, which some people wondered if it was open or not. It now ramped up a little bit, so it's more open than it was before. We got to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about the Steelers now getting ready for the first game against the Buccaneers on Friday night. Depth chart came out. We'll debate it next right here on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown.
#1 Cochran Sports Showdown is brought to you by #1 Cochran. Go one better.